Tonight, while you are sleeping, your blood sugar is doing something your doctor has never once explained to you. Your liver does not rest at night. It works. It manufactures glucose from scratch. And by morning, it has silently pushed your fasting blood sugar 20, 30, sometimes 40 points higher than it was when you closed your eyes. That is why you test in the morning, and the number makes no sense. You ate right yesterday. You did everything right. And still, there it is. But what if one specific food, could stop that from happening? What if you could eat something before bed, go to sleep, and wake up to a lower fasting blood sugar number than the day before? Not a drug, not a supplement, a food. Proven in a peer-reviewed clinical study published in the American Diabetes Association's own journal. That food exists, and you probably already have it in your kitchen. Here is the part that is going to make you angry. This food was studied, rigorously, multiple times, published in respected journals. The researchers themselves said its effects were comparable to pharmaceutical interventions. That is a direct quote. Their words, their journal. And yet, statistically speaking, your doctor has never mentioned it. Not once. Not in a checkup, not after a high fasting glucose reading, not after your HbA1c crept into the pre-diabetic range. Why? Because there is no billing code for it. No patent. No $400 a month refill. Nobody is walking into your doctor's office with free lunches and glossy brochures promoting this. The margin is zero. I am not going to give you a theory today. I am going to give you the exact clinical mechanism, the specific studies, and the exact protocol. The what, the how much, and the when. But first, let me explain something your doctor probably never has. Because if you do not understand what is actually causing your blood sugar to rise overnight, the food I am about to show you will not make sense. Most people think high fasting blood sugar is about what they ate for dinner. It is not. Not entirely. After age 60, something changes in your liver. It is called hepatic glucose output. And in people with type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, the liver essentially loses its off switch. A healthy liver releases glucose only when blood sugar drops too low. It is a rescue system. It keeps you from going into a coma overnight. That is its job. But in insulin-resistant livers, and after 65, this is extremely common. That system gets stuck in the on position. The liver produces glucose throughout the night, not because you need it, but because the feedback loop is broken. That is why you wake up with a fasting glucose of 130, 140, 150. Not because of last night's dinner, because your liver worked all night manufacturing sugar you did not ask for. This process is called hepatic gluconeogenesis, and it is the primary reason fasting blood sugar climbs year after year in seniors, even when diet has not changed at all. Here's the thing. Metformin addresses this. Partly. But there is a food that targets the same pathway, and according to the clinical evidence, it does it effectively, cheaply, and with virtually no side effects. That food is raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons. Before bed. I want to be very clear about something before we go further. The evidence behind this is not preliminary. It is not a single small study buried in an obscure journal. It has been replicated. It has been published in peer-reviewed research, and it has been cited in the American Diabetes Association's own journal, twice. Apple cider vinegar. The sharp, sour, almost eye-watering smell when you unscrew the cap. That acidity, the kind that makes your whole face tighten up, is acetic acid. About 5% concentration in standard raw apple cider vinegar. And acetic acid does something to your overnight glucose metabolism that no pharmaceutical company can replicate, patent, or sell back to you at a markup. It works through 3 mechanisms, simultaneously. Mechanism 1. It slows the enzymes in your small intestine that convert carbohydrates into glucose. When you eat, carbs break down and flood your bloodstream. Acetic acid suppresses those enzymes. Instead of a flood, you get a controlled trickle. The spike flattens. The crash shrinks. Mechanism 2. It activates a metabolic pathway called AMPK in your skeletal muscle, the same pathway targeted by metformin. AMPK signals your muscles to absorb glucose from the bloodstream. Even when your insulin signaling is impaired, this pathway can pull glucose out of your blood on its own. And mechanism 3, the one that makes it number 1 on this list, is what happens overnight. Acetic acid suppresses hepatic gluconeogenesis. It tells your liver to slow down glucose production while you sleep. Not stop entirely. Slow down. That broken overnight off switch I described? Acetic acid helps flip it back toward normal. And it does it while you are unconscious, while your liver is working the night shift it was never supposed to work. 3 mechanisms: slows absorption, accelerates clearance, suppresses overnight production. No single diabetes medication on the market addresses all 3 simultaneously. The clinical proof. Study 1. Published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2005. Researchers gave healthy subjects vinegar alongside a high-carbohydrate meal. Post-meal blood glucose, the spike after eating, dropped 23 to 30% within 90 minutes. Insulin response was also significantly lower. And they confirmed a dose-response relationship. More acetic acid, greater reduction. 23% in 90 minutes. From vinegar. Study 2. Published in Diabetes Care, 2004. The American Diabetes Association's own journal. 3 groups: people with type 2 diabetes, people with insulin resistance, and healthy controls. In the insulin-resistant group, vinegar improved post-meal insulin sensitivity by 34%. In the type 2 diabetic group, 19%. Both groups showed significantly lower glucose after meals. The researchers' conclusion was that vinegar's effect on carbohydrate metabolism was, and I am paraphrasing only slightly, comparable to pharmaceutical interventions. Comparative to pharmaceutical interventions. Their words, their journal. Study 3. This is the one that proves the title of this video. Published in Diabetes Care, 2007. Researchers gave type 2 diabetic patients 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar at bedtime, right before sleep. The next morning, waking fasting glucose was significantly lower than the control group. A 4 to 6% reduction in fasting blood sugar by morning. Now that might sound modest, until you understand that these patients were already on diabetes medication. The vinegar reduced their fasting glucose beyond what their medication alone was achieving. It stacked on top. Let me make sure you understand what just happened. A study published in the American Diabetes Association's own journal proved that 2 tablespoons of vinegar at bedtime reduces fasting blood sugar in type 2 diabetics, on top of their existing medication. The cost of apple cider vinegar? Approximately 3 cents per serving. The average monthly cost of common diabetes medications in the United States, $400 to $1,000, depending on the drug, depending on your insurance. Now you understand why your doctor never mentioned this. Here is something most health channels will not tell you. After age 65, overnight hepatic glucose output increases, year after year. This is one of the primary mechanisms driving rising fasting blood sugar in seniors, even when diet and lifestyle have not changed. You are doing everything right at dinner, and your liver undoes it all by 3 a.m. Your doctor sees the morning number. They increase the medication. The underlying mechanism keeps running. Apple cider vinegar suppression of that overnight process is especially relevant to seniors, not because it is a cure, but because it addresses the specific dysfunction that gets worse with age. Younger adults do not have this problem to the same degree. You do. And this food targets exactly that. Every morning you wake up to a fasting glucose of 130, 140, 150. There is a mechanism your medication may not be touching. Vinegar addresses it. Here is precisely what to do. No guesswork. Before bed, dilute 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar in 8 ounces of water. Drink it within 30 minutes of going to sleep. This activates the overnight liver suppression mechanism. Before your largest meal, optional addition, dilute 1 to 2 tablespoons in 8 ounces of water and drink it 15 to 20 minutes before eating. This engages the enzyme suppression before the carbohydrates even hit your bloodstream. 3 critical rules. 1. Always dilute. Undiluted vinegar will damage your tooth enamel and can cause esophageal irritation. Always dilute. Always. 2. Use a straw to minimize contact with your teeth and rinse your mouth with plain water afterward. 3. Look for raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother. That is the cloudy, strand-like material visible at the bottom of the bottle. It contains the full spectrum of acetic acid plus beneficial enzymes. That is the form you want. This section matters. Do not skip it. Warning 1. If you take metformin and have kidney issues, both metformin and apple cider vinegar can lower potassium levels. Combined, they can cause hypokalemia, dangerously low potassium, which leads to muscle weakness, cramping, and in severe cases, heart arrhythmia. If you take metformin, start with 1 tablespoon instead of 2. Tell your doctor what you are doing. Before we move to the next warning, can I ask you a quick question? Have you subscribed yet? If not, now is the perfect time. Tap that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on notifications so you never miss important updates. Then head down to the comments and tell us where you're watching from and what topic you'd like us to cover next. Warning 2. If you take insulin. Apple cider vinegar lowers blood sugar. Insulin lowers blood sugar. Together, they can push your glucose too low. If you are on insulin, monitor closely and talk to your doctor before starting this protocol. Warning 3. Digestive sensitivity. Some people experience nausea or stomach discomfort with apple cider vinegar, especially on an empty stomach. Always dilute. If discomfort persists, try it with a small snack rather than on a completely empty stomach. The reason your doctor does not warn you about these combinations is because your doctor does not know you are adding this. So tell them. Bring the studies. Show them the numbers. You are not going against their care, you are going ahead of it. Here is exactly what I want you to do, step by step. Tonight, 2 tablespoons of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother. 8 ounces of water. Drink it through a straw within 30 minutes of bed. Go to sleep. Tomorrow morning, check your fasting blood sugar before eating anything. Before coffee, write that number down. Do this for 7 days straight. On day 7, compare your number to day 1. Write down the difference. Then take that 7-day log to your doctor. Let the data do the talking. You are not arguing, you are not guessing. You are showing them a record. That is responsible. That is evidence-based. That is exactly what a healthcare system that actually cared about you would have recommended from day 1. I want you to do one thing right now before you close this video. Drop a comment below. Tell me your current fasting blood sugar number. Then come back in 7 days and tell me what happened. I read every single comment, every one. And think about someone in your life right now. A spouse, a sibling, a friend from church. Someone who tests their blood sugar every morning and cannot figure out why that number keeps climbing. Someone who has been told to increase their medication, but has never once been told about this. Share this video with them. Not for me, for them. The algorithm will not show this to the people who need it most. The only way it reaches them is if you send it yourself. If you have not subscribed yet, now is the time. I release evidence-based videos like this regularly. No selling, no fear-mongering. Just the research your doctor should have shared with you years ago. This is Senior Health Blog. You just proved that the truth still matters. I will see you in the next one.